Joink, beep, beep. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this thing that we like to call Northern News Now Plus on the Northern News Now Plus app. I'm your host, whether you like it or not, Matt Rasmussen, morning director slash local filmmaker slash the king of Halloween slash host of Movie Mondays with Matt. So thank you for tuning in here. Let me show you who I actually am. Hopefully you could hear me there. Hi, this is me in my monkey suit. Thank you for tuning in on a very special edition of Movie Mondays with Matt, the streaming edition here on Northern News Now Plus. What are we going to be talking about today? Primate. Just saw the new movie Primate. It was actually a week ago. I saw it a little earlier than some folks. Marcus Theaters has this awesome thing called the Mystery Movie, and last Monday they had another mystery movie. It was the special horror edition, and so I wanted to check it out. I had never actually checked out the mystery movie before, and some of my friends were there. It was kind of cool to see a bunch of horror fans all chilling. It was cheap too. It was only like $6 or something to go and check it out, and I was hoping it was Primate, and sure enough, it didn't disappoint. It definitely was Primate, and yeah, so I got to see it a few days early before it opened wide on like that Thursday night that week. So we'll be talking about Primate because, wow, that was a cool movie. And check out my monkey suit that I brought in this morning. I forgot to have the lei. I found the lei after we did our like TV hit, and then I have my pants, the lower part here. We ate the bananas, the props for the bananas gone. Distributed those throughout the morning team. It was a fun, tasty little snack for everyone. So, let me just check on something real quick here before we begin. Okay, yes, this all looks good. Make sure the mic's on, yup. Okay, so, before we get too heavily into Primate, let's first get into the box office figures, huh? That's what you guys want to see. So, let's get into it here. Joink. All right, mic is on. So, number 5 for this week, the apocalyptic sequel Greenland 2 Migration debuted in 5th place with $8.5 million. Then, Zootopia 2, number 4, took 4th place with $10.1 million, giving it $379 million domestically and $1.65 billion globally, which it has now become Disney Animation's highest grossing movie ever, period. And then here we are, number 3, The Housemaid, starring Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, landed in 3rd place, earning $11.2 million. Then, the horror thriller Primate, here we are, number 2. It was the top the top new movie this week, grossing $11.3 million to debut in 2nd place. Then lastly, Avatar. Fire and Ash, it's still strong. The 3rd film in this series topped the chart for a 4th straight weekend, earning $21.3 million for a total of $343 million domestically and nearly $1.25 billion worldwide. We knew that Avatar would make some big numbers here, but we're going to talk about Primate today. Here it is. It was horrifying. Absolutely horrifying, as you can tell. There, the video is about to time out, so we'll go back to cam. Joink. So, the long and short of Primate is, if you're familiar with Cujo, the Stephen King novel slash movie, it's about a cute, harmless dog that gets bit, and he has rabies. And you see him transform from this cute, harmless dog into a killer. And that's kind of the whole point of Cujo, and that's the whole point of Primate as well. But, you know, done a little differently. Like, you know, Cujo, big, crazy St. Bernard, like this. Was he a St. Bernard? No. Yeah. I don't remember what kind of dog he was. It doesn't matter. It differs from the novel to the movie. But anyway, Primate, about a chimp, same thing. Cute family pet that seems harmless, and, you know, he is for, like, you know, the duration of his life. But then, you know, he gets bit and he gets rabies. And before the family can figure out what's going on, it's too late, and he starts to transform. Like, mentally, he snaps, and just everything bothers him, and he becomes a threat to the family. And it's this thriller where the main characters are all trapped in this house with this chimp, and the suspense and the uncertainty of this movie comes from they don't know where this chimp is ever because he's so erratic. Because he'll be attacking them, and then he'll just like change his mind and then leave the room. And it's like, what now? What now? With the uncertainty of what now, and then they don't know where he is or what if they can even continue the next phase of their plan, which is just to try to call for help. And they're trapped in this, for the longest time, they're kind of trapped in a pool because this chimp can't swim. It's just terrifying. And everything that happens with this chimp is terrifying. And for the most part, this chimp is convincing. It's not a real chimp ever. It's someone in a suit. And they do a real good job at selling the fact that it's a chimp, and it's a real person. Excuse me, that it's a real chimp, not a person in a suit. And a few times I could kind of tell if they did like a wide shot or something. It's like, that's probably just a guy in a suit. But for the most part, I was able to stick with it, and it didn't take me out of it, like that little element. And the tension is present, and the uncertainty is present throughout. And they go through different corners of the house, just trying to call for help or find a way to fend off this chimp. His name is Ben, by the way, and he's like a really smart family pet. Like, they rescued him, they've had him for years, and he knows sign language, and he can communicate with them on this pad that, like, if he types out this pad, it'll say good, bad, that kind of stuff. And that adds a creepy element too, because you'll hear him like typing out something on the pad that's threatening towards them. Even if he can't get them, he'll be like spelling something out. It's terrifying. Definitely check out Primate. What else can I say about it without giving away too much? Well, audiences really seem to love it. It's huge right now on Rotten Tomatoes. It debuted pretty high. It's dropped off a little bit with the audience score and stuff, but it's still in the 80s, I do believe, which is pretty good for a thriller, a January thriller at that. I will call it the first great horror film of the year. I know it's not it's not a huge order because we're only a couple weeks in, but it was good, and it was definitely noteworthy, and I'm going to remember this film throughout the rest of the year. Another thing is they don't rely heavily on CGI. They have a lot of really great old-school practical effects, and it always felt like a physical presence was there. Not like the Planet of the Apes movies, the new ones, where you can tell those are clearly CGI chimps that emote a little too much on the face. This chimp, it just seems real, and the old school effects are real. The gore, there's a lot of gore in this movie as well. It's not for the squeamish. Especially there's a part in the opening that, I thought it would be one of those gotcha moments, but it was gotcha with gore, and it really shocked me, like in the opening. I didn't expect that to happen so fast with the in-your-face moments, but it's clear that this thriller, from the start, it's coming from you. It's coming at you from the right place. So, yeah, check out Primate. I'd like to say more, but I don't want to spoil too much. I'll say this though: I'd love to see a sequel, regardless of how it ends. There's a lot of sequel talk with all the different titles right now in the box office. Of course, we have Avatar 3, and James Cameron's been threatening 7 Avatar movies for years now. I think he announced that even before, like, Part 2 came out. So we know more Avatars are coming. Greenland 2 is out there. I didn't expect to see a Greenland 2. Maybe there'll be a third one, who knows. The Sidney Whitty movie, The Housemaid, that's already, they announced a sequel to that. So, a lot of sequel buzz. And Zootopia 2, man, we know there's going to be a 3. If this is the highest grossing movie ever, that Disney has put out, 100% they're going to be looking forward to doing part 3. And you know, so lots of good stuff happening in the box office right now. What more can I say about Primate? Well, it's just good, and I don't want to spoil anything. Just check it out. It's one of those movies that's going to generate good buzz based on audience feedback, and I think it'll definitely be a noteworthy thing moving forward. So, another thing we can talk about a little bit is other chimp-type movies or other movies in this vein, since they're usually a recap of franchise, and this is it. This is part 1. That's the whole franchise. There's your recap right there. So we could talk a little bit about Cujo. You know, that's a classic Stephen King story. I kind of set it up already. That's a lot more of a slow burn than Primate is. And really, I was asked this morning, like, which one I preferred, actually, between Primate and Cujo. I know Cujo is a classic. I preferred Primate more, because the characters, although, like, you know, the characters are kind of annoying, they were less annoying than the characters in Cujo, I'm sorry to say. I just wanted Cujo to get those characters, because they kept screaming, and it was very annoying what was going on with those characters in Cujo. And Primate, they reel it in a lot more, and they make you like those characters a little bit more. So, in that sense, even though Cujo is a classic, I'd prefer to watch Primate again over Cujo. So there's that little thing. What else do we have here? I don't know. I just don't want to spoil Primate for you, because it's so fun. It's so good. I do plan to watch it again. So I suppose I could recap my weekend a little bit here. Went to the Nicolas Cage movie marathon. Now we're going to rewind a little bit. Last week we talked with History Haley about Caged In at the Depot. It's the 4th year they did it. So I actually went out to Caged In at the Depot, said hi to her. A few of my friends were out there as well, doing the whole Nicolas Cage movie marathon. And unfortunately, one of the titles that was announced by them was withdrawn. And we talked about it, and then announced it, and I put it up in the full page, and then it was withdrawn, like, I think it was the next day, because, like, of a rights issue or something. So the very first one they were going to show at 5:30 was Season of the Witch. And that one got pulled, so instead they played Left Behind, the 2000, was it 19 or no? It was earlier than that. I remember watching it kind of when it came out, Left Behind, and I blocked it out of my memory. I didn't remember it being as absurd as it was, but it was very absurd movie. And watching it with a group of people, the shots are laughable, and just the acting is laughable. And the thing about that movie is they were going for dead serious, and there was nothing but laughable stuff happening. Not like the story itself, but how it was presented in a filmmaking way. You know, it was just an absurd movie, and it was so fun to see it with a group of people. So glad I was able to catch Left Behind with some folks. I came in a little late. I had a couple of errands to run. But that was good. And then the other 2 movies following that were exactly on schedule. After that, they had The Rock, and I had never seen that on the big screen before or with a crowd of people. That was fun to see. Michael Bay movie, back before he's now the Michael Bay that we know, and you know, everyone has their own opinions on Michael Bay. So yeah, it was good to see that one with a group. And then I stuck around for then the quintessential Nicolas Cage movie, as far as I'm concerned, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which was my flick of the week last week. And that is just the ultimate Nicolas Cage movie. It's Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage. He's recruited by the FBI to, like, spy on Pedro Pascal. They think he's some like big drug lord, and there's all these miscommunications and all these hijinks, and Nicolas Cage is clearly out of his element. He's just he has no training in any of this stuff, and I don't want to spoil too much of that movie either, but that is one of the funniest movies, and those jokes really landed harder with the crowd. The "not that we went anywhere" and all those different little quotes, amazing. So that was good, and that was kind of the Friday night, and then I just watched a lot of movies this weekend and caught up on some stuff there and around the house, and it was a cute, quiet little weekend indoors, and yeah, it was a good time, and I caught up on a few more. I could mention this. I watched 12 Monkeys. I thought, because I didn't know anything about 12 Monkeys, I was like, a movie about monkeys. I'm covering Primate on Monday. I'll see what this 12 Monkeys is all about. Went into it blind. Honestly hated it. Hated 12 Monkeys. I would never watch it again. I was so uncomfortable the whole time. And that was the point of it, honestly. You're dealing with people that are crazy. Bruce Willis is in it. He's insane. He's schizophrenic, and he's like mumbling, and he's out of his mind, and he's time skipping all over the place. And then Brad Pitt is in it, and he's insane, and he's like, he's schizophrenic, but he like has ADHD as well, and he's like talking a mile a minute, and he's moving around a lot, and they have these long takes. Crazy stuff is happening, and things go on very long, and a lot of misunderstandings and stuff in that movie. And for me, it was a frustrating watch because I don't like watching films that are meant to make you feel uncomfortable. There's also a little vein in there where you could compare it to any David Lynch things. I love David Lynch, very talented. There's a huge cult following for David Lynch. All of his material makes me uncomfortable. And again, that's by design. I'm not a fan of that. I like to watch movies to unwind and to be entertained and to enjoy myself. And when I watch something like 12 Monkeys that makes me uncomfortable for 2 hours, that's not a very good escape as far as I'm concerned. Sure, it makes you think. It's not entertaining as far as I'm concerned. So, watch 12 Monkeys. Big mistake. I won't be watching 12 Monkeys again. I won't be watching the 12 Monkeys television series ever again. There's not even 12 actual monkeys in 12 Monkeys. There's 1 or 2 monkeys out there, and they talk about the army. I've talked too much about 12 Monkeys. I'm done with that. I'm going to block that one out of my memory. So, that was it. And there were no other monkey-related films that I watched this weekend in preparation for this. I wouldn't mind rewatching Cujo, though, and see if maybe a second watch holds up better this time around. So, I think I've talked all I can about Primate without spoiling too much for you guys. So, thus concludes this week's episode of Movie Mondays with Matt. Thanks for tuning in here. Thanks for sticking around with me. And next week, I'll tease ahead a little bit. It's going to be another new horror movie that's opening this week. Just look it up. It should be fairly obvious what it's going to be. And that will be that. And I can't wait. I'm still kind of trying to find the right... I know what costume I want to wear. I just have to find a place that has the exact thing I'm looking for. So, that is that. It'll be another fun one next week. So, once again, thanks for tuning in. And, yeah, until next weekend, my friends. Until next week, stay spooky, everybody.